Nah. Gotta share the screen, excuse me. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya
Hare Hare Krishna Krishna.
Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Disha Harine Hare Krishna 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 Hey 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 Krishna 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 Rakshamam Krishna 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 Rakshamam Krishna 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 Pahimam Krishna 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 Pahimam Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rakshamam Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rakshamam Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Pahimam Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Pahimam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Jai Pradyumna Prabhu. Thanks a lot for coming by. And thank you, Bhakta Pixel 6. Pixel 6 Prabhu.
Oh, that's not a thing here again. I just got a different thing.
Haribol Bhakta Pixel.
Yeah, I didn't realize that's what it says. It hasn't identified.
Okay. Do you know how to fix that so your name is there so people who know?
Not a clue.
Pradyumna Prabhu, do you know how Narasingha Prabhu can change his name from Pixel to Narasingha? Pradyumna Prabhu, are you there?
Oh, that's fine. On the participants, it says Pixel 6.
Anyway, I try my best. And oh Lord Krishna, please protect us and maintain us. O Lord Rama, descendant of King Raghu. Excuse me, could you please put the mute on? It's not a japa session now.
Okay, sorry. There we go.
Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Intense japa.
Yes, hold on. I'm trying to
Who is
figure that
that?
out. It's somebody at my end. Hold on. I'm trying to.
I'll put you on mute. O Lord Rama, descendant of King Raghu, please protect us. O Krishna, O Keshava, killer of the Keshi demon, please maintain us. I took the liberty of changing it from me to all of us. So, just to do a little recap here, we left off the other day, and we are recounting how here's a print from the 1930s of King Muchukunda being drawn into the cave in the Ganda Madana mountains, which is actually up in the Himalayas near the Badrikashram. And we see Krishna there in his Vishnu form. He's observing King Muchukunda killing actually, he's supposed to be lying down in his sleep, but in this painting, anyway, he's standing up. And he's killing the Kalyavan demon who had been attacking Mathura and Krishna's devotees. And here in a painting from 1769, we see Lord Krishna appearing before King Muchukunda in a cave in the Himalayas. And now we'll start today's chapter. Rukmini's message to Lord Krishna. This is the 10th canto, 52nd chapter. And in the Krishna book, it's chapter 51, and the title is Krishna the Ranchor. So this is the background I have today. It's the Ganda Madana mountain where King Muchukunda goes to reside. It's described as being situated east of Mount Meru, and it's known for its fragrant forests. It's the boundary between Ilavrita Varsha and Bharata Varsha, a mountain range to the east of Ilavrita and to the west of Meru, and the boundary limit of Bhadrashva. I haven't done all this reading in the 5th canto to really understand all of this. But it describes on its top falls the Shita. I'm thinking that means the snow. The abode of Nara and Narayan, visited by Brahma. To this Muchukunda repaired after leaving the cave in which he slept. And also describes that Urvasi spent some time here. And there's more pastimes that actually tie in. But this is the abode of Kubera and the Yakshas. The mountain gets its name from the fragrant and healing herbs that grow on it. The Ganda, which means fragrance. Madana, which I'm assuming means mountain. Okay, so I'll just take us to the... I don't think, Nrsimha Prabhu, I don't think you went to the Himalayas, did you? Did you ever go to the Badrikashram? I never did.
I didn't go that far. No, I lived in Lakshmanjula for a long time.
Is that
and
near?
I was in Devaprayag. Huh?
Is that near?
Well, Lakshmanjula is the foothills of the Himalayas. It's past Rishikesh. And then I also often went to Devaprayag, which is...
I can't see that in my mind. I was in Badi, just an hour from Chandigarh.
Badrikashram. Oh,
But
you're in
for the-
Chandigarh. That's Punjab.
Badi, an hour from there. And then went to Kathmandu, so I saw the Himalayas from Kathmandu.
From there, yeah.
Pradyumna Prabhu, have you been to the Himalayas yet?
Yet. I'll probably never go there at this rate. No, I haven't had the fortune. But
Okay.
I've been to all the tirthas I wanted to go to. So
All right.
giant that.
Very good. All right. Let me just find the link here for where we're reading from.
As far as I know, if you take bath in Jamuna or if you take bath in Ganga, you're
You're good to go.
You're in the Himalaya.
Okay, here we are. Great. Okay. So Pradyumna, you're up first after me. Would you like to start reading? We can either read one long paragraph or two short ones. So this is chapter 51 of the Krishna book, Krishna the Ranchor. And then Nrsinga, and then back to me. Go for it.
When Muchukunda, the celebrated descendant of the Ikshvaku dynasty, was favored by the Lord, by Lord Krishna, he circumambulated the Lord within the cave and then came out. On coming out of the cave, Muchukunda saw that the stature of the human species had surprisingly been reduced to pygmy size. Similarly, the trees had also far reduced in size, and Muchukunda could immediately understand that the current age was Kali Yuga. Therefore, without diverting his attention, he began to travel north. Eventually, he reached the mountain known as Gandhamadana. It appeared there were many trees on this mountain, such as sandalwood and other flower trees, and the flavor of which made anyone joyful who reached them. He decided to remain in that Gandhamadan mountain region in order to execute austerities and penances for the rest of his life. It appears that this place is situated on the northernmost part of the Himalayan mountains, where the abode of Narayan is situated. This place is still existing. It's called Badarikashram. In Badarikashram, he engages himself in the worship of Lord Krishna, forgetting all pain and pleasure and the other dualities of this material world. Lord Krishna also returned to the vicinity of the city of Mathura and began to fight with the soldiers of Kalayavan and kill them one after another. After this, he collected all the booty from dead bodies. And under his direction, it was loaded on bullock carts by big men and brought back to Dwaraka.
Nrsinga, Prabhu? Nrsinga?
Meanwhile, Jarasandha again attacked Mathura, this time with bigger divisions of soldiers, numbering 23 Akshahinis. Lord Sri Krishna wanted to save Mathura from the 18th attack of the great military divisions of King Jarasandha. In order to prevent further killing of soldiers and to attend to other important business, Lord Krishna left the battlefield without fighting. Actually, he was not at all afraid, but he pretended to be an ordinary human being, frightened by the immense quantity of soldiers and resources of Jarasandha. Without any weapons, he left the battlefield. Although his lotus feet were as soft as the petals of the lotus flower, he proceeded for a very long distance on foot. This time, Jarasandha thought that Krishna and Balaram were very much afraid of his military strength and were fleeing from the battlefield. He began to follow them with all his chariots, horses, and infantry. He thought Krishna and Balaram to be ordinary human beings, and he was trying to measure the activities of the Lord. Krishna is known as Ranchor, which means one who has left the battlefield. In India, especially in Gujarat, there are many temples of Krishna, which are known as temples of Ranchorji. Ordinarily, if a king leaves the battlefield without fighting, he is called a coward. But when Krishna enacts this pastime, leaving the battlefield without fighting, he's worshipped by the devotee. A demon always tries to measure the opulence of Krishna, whereas the devotee never tries to measure his strength and opulence, but always surrenders unto him and worships him. By following the footsteps of pure devotees, we can know that Krishna, the Ranchor ji, did not leave the battlefield because he was afraid, but because he had some other purpose. The purpose, as it will be revealed, was to attend to a confidential letter sent by Rukmini, his future first wife. The act of Krishna's leaving the battlefield is a display of one of his 6 opulences. Krishna is the supreme powerful, the supreme wealthy, the supreme famous, the supreme wise, the supreme beautiful. Similarly, he's the supreme renouncer. Srimad Bhagavatam clearly states that he left the battlefield in spite of having ample military strength. Even without his militia, however, he alone would have been sufficient to defeat the army of Jarasandha, as he had done 17 times before. Therefore, his leaving the battlefield is an example of his supermost opulence of renunciation.
That's a really interesting point. Um, Hi, Lavashini, Hari are here. Shuddha Sindhu's here. Great. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, we're
Lavashini,
late.
did you write a song? Did you write a song about Krishna as a ranchor? Did you ever write a song about that?
No.
Okay, there's a new one for you. It's a new idea for your next hit. I find this really interesting point. How Krishna taking off from the battlefield, from the chase of Jarasandha, is a sign of Krishna's renunciation, because Hare Krishna or Hare Prabhu basis. We have Pradyumna with us from Montreal, and also Shuddha Sindhu all the way from Malaysia, and Narasimha Prabhu, who's staying in Florida, in Alachua with Hindu Bhakti. He's back
Hari,
again.
Hari.
So yeah, I'm just throwing it out there, Nrsimha Prabhu. I was finding it interesting that like Krishna wasn't worried about his reputation. Like, oh no, like what are my devotees going to think if I run away from the battlefield? This isn't going to be good for my reputation. Krishna
Well,
wasn't worried.
devotees are the same. Devotees are the same. Look at when the Pandit came to challenge Rupa and Sanatan, and they happily signed the note. Yes, you've defeated us.
Kalapatra.
Yeah, but Jiva wasn't having any. He said this guy right. But so, yeah, there's nothing is being done to prove to anybody. It's all what is pleasing to the devotees. So Krishna is thinking how to take care of Rukmini. He doesn't care what Jarasandha thinks. Jarasandha is an idiot. He's been completely whipped 17 times. His whole army has been destroyed 17 times. Oh, but this time it'll be different. This time they're afraid of me, right?
Got to hand it to Jarasandha. He had a certain level of tenacity there. He wasn't going to give up.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Oh, what
Yeah,
to
he
speak
just-
of, what my devotees think of me, but I know a lot of devotees who think, what will all these people think of me? I can't go out on Sankirtan because I'll look like an idiot in front of all these people. I've heard this many times. It's interesting to consider that, Krishna did a lot of things that would be frowned upon. And like you said, leaving the battlefield, his devotees would be bewildered. But what to speak of us being bewildered by, being scared of bewildering everybody, even non-devotees.
I know of one devotee in Montreal. He's a psychologist, and he used to say that someone's chanting rounds. Maybe you could put the mute on, if please. Okay, thank you. Yeah, he used to say that he could not go on Harinam because he worked as a psychologist, and he said that the board of psychologists they would actually fire him from being a psychologist if he were to reveal that he was a member of a cult that goes out in robes singing Hare Krishna on the street. But it's interesting to note that Dira Govinda Prabhu got his PhD on the basis of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. He did I don't know what you call it exactly, like a test where he like got 50 university students, 25 chanted some placebo gobbledygook mumbo jumbo ooga booga, mantra, and and then he gave the Hare Krishna mantra to like another 25 other students, and then he did research and he kept track of their levels of distress or anxiety, um, stress, their ability to focus, their marks. And all the students that chanted the Hare Krishna mantra for a certain amount of time every day, they got much better marks, lower levels of stress. So he did like an empirical test to prove that the Hare Krishna mantra actually has a very positive effect on mental health. And he was in Toronto a couple of years back, Dr. David B. Wolf, Dira Govinda, and he was a keynote speaker at ACTO, the Association for Coach Trainers Organization. And he conducted, because a lot of the people that were there, the coaches, they were teaching silent meditation. But Dira Govinda was presenting mantra meditation, and he handed out japa beads to all the coaches in the room. And he got everyone to chant one round of japa, which was really cool. And he got like the heads of hospitals, like the head nurse in hospitals, to become very interested and to introduce Hare Krishna mantra chanting for the mental health of the patients. And he had one client, and she's an atheist and very influential person. I forget what line of work she is. She doesn't believe in God, but she says she loves chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Figure that one out. So, yeah, I guess it takes a little bit of dependence on Krishna, right? To put ourselves out there if we're holding a position like big psychologists, people know us, and there we are with these robed people playing tambourines on the corner.
Well, I
Did
see
you want
that
to
in
say?
action. Haribol,
Yeah,
Dandavas, everyone.
yes, Haribo.
Yeah, Haribol Prabhu. My sister, Bhaktadasi, disciple of Srila Prabhupada,
Can we
before
get
she,
Babatrini's face a little bit more in?
I'm not
Yeah,
maybe
talking,
I
he
remove
is.
myself.
no,
It
we
seems
want
like
both of you. Hey, I can't believe you're a better half out of the picture. Come on. Okay.
I didn't push her.
He pinched me. No,
Oh, the two
Okay,
sisters.
what were you saying about your sister?
Bhaktadasi, she ended up being actually Prabhupada knew all their family, actually were introduced by Hanuman, the sannyas, who married her. But before that, and her and my family, they were actually ourselves were the first disciples of Srila Prabhupada in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Very culture city, very culture country, educated most of it. Anyhow, to tell that story, sure. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say anything. She was very famous, and a consideration. This is what he was talking about, going out in the street, and she didn't care, because when she came to join the movement, she realized that name, fame, adoration, since she was rich, actually, she won Cannes Festival of Film um, for a campaign for 7-Up 69, when Prabhupada actually drank it.
No, he
So
called it, Prabhupada called it 7 o'clock.
at 7 o'clock, yeah, he liked it. It was very refreshing. So yeah, she came to the point where material consideration of title, name, fame, it wasn't really satisfying. And when I joined, and a week later she joined, and but we were in the street and people recognized it. But it was one of the reasons why, being so famous, we went on television. So every week we were on television. A lot of famous people there on TV were calling upon Hanuman the Swami then, to talk about this Krishna consciousness. So, but yeah, many of her friends shun her. She had a reputation of had gone crazy.
Wow. That's
yeah.
when you find out who your real friends are.
Yes. Yeah.
And George Harrison, look, huge, huge reputation, and yeah, I think he even wrote a song about that people were questioning him about becoming a devotee of Krishna.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
I
So when you try
actually,
to,
Huh?
Pradyumna, you had something to
oh,
say?
I actually printed this flyer recently for Sankirtan.
What
It's
does it
called
say?
presenting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as spoken by Srila Prabhupada.
Uh-huh.
And it's actually his Maha Mantra address, the famous one.
Right.
And I've been reading it, and meditating on it. And here it says, Prabhupada says, there's no need of understanding the language of the mantra, nor is there need for mental speculation, nor any intellectual adjustment for chanting this Maha Mantra. It springs automatically from the spiritual platform, and as such, anyone can take part in this transcendental sound vibration without any previous qualification and dance in ecstasy. We have seen this practically, that even a child can take part in the chanting, or even a dog can take part in it. So we don't need to know who God is. We don't need to love God. We just need to chant and hear the chanting from pure devotees. And that's it. That's amazing, isn't it?
That
Punishing it.
address, Hare Krishna, that address was written by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
Was it? I thought it was ad lib from Prabhupada. Okay, so he was actually reading from his own.
Parampara.
Yeah.
Wow.
If
There
there
you
is an
go.
interview, yeah, there is an interview with Govinda Dasi, and she talks about hearing Prabhupada rehearsing this speech.
Really? I didn't know this. That's amazing. I thought he was jazzing, I thought that was jazz. I'm
It's
serious.
just so fabulous. George Harrison memorized that.
It's
Right.
perfect.
Rehearsed.
It's
Yeah.
actually perfect. It's
It was on
that's why I
the,
printed it out. I distribute it because when people are asking, what are you guys doing? And this is what we're doing. This is such the perfect explanation of what we're doing, actually.
So I
Yeah.
don't know if you know Pradyumna Prabhu or not, but
No.
Godbrother Palaka Prabhu has dedicated himself, because there's an instruction from Prabhupada where he said that every single gentleman should get a copy of the On Chanting flyer, which contains what you just read. So Palaka Prabhu has printed millions of these, and I
Oh,
can give you his information. He sends out boxes of them.
yeah.
I think you get like several hundred in just one small box.
Oh,
He
that's
may
cool.
he may even have it translated in French for Montreal, where
Yeah,
you
I
are.
was thinking of translating myself, but it's not so easy.
Uh,
It's actually not that easy. But yeah, for sure, hook me up with that. That's cool.
I will.
People
Good.
are asking for French version, and I'm like, well, this Prabhupada's words, take it or leave it. But good for here, anyways. Yeah.
Shraddha Sindhu, do you have any comment or question, or are you good? Shraddha Sindhu? Hare Krishna? You're very quiet, like a little yogi. Okay, she's going to remain quiet. Rasangi, did you have something to say?
Right.
Hare Krishna? Are you there, Rasangi?
Hi, hello. Yeah, I'm
Hello.
walking, but I want to say hello.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Haribol. You know,
So good
I'm
to see
reading
you.
Haribol, everybody. I'm reading Shamasundar's third volume right now, and it's blowing my mind. Plus, I associate with Gurudas every week on a call we have, so I'm hearing so much Prabhupada nectar. And next week, I want to invite everybody to come to our Yoga in the Dark Night of the Soul. It's a Wednesday at 10:30 to 12. And Gurudas is going to be doing a book review of his new book. And his new book contains, he has 3,000 pictures of Prabhupada that have never been seen.
Wow.
He's written a book. So I'll have to get everybody, if you're available, you can come on our Zoom and take part in that. And I was
Please
also,
do hook us up with Gurudas's like a Zoom call.
Yes.
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 He
I will
came
do
here.
that.
Is this a third book? Because he has two before, and he did a book signing at our store. We had wonderful time. I mean, so many devotees came.
And, Shama Sundar's book is so amazing. I always thought that Shama Sundar left Prabhupada, but it's really not true, that he was replaced one day, much to his chagrin, which caused him to weep and sob and cry and go into a terrible depression. When Tamal and the others said, we've decided, he walked in one day from getting cassette tapes because he was taping everything he could.
Nice.
Prabhupada was speaking 100 times every 2 weeks. He was speaking lectures day and night, and he wanted to get as much of it as he could.
Good.
So he would have to get cassettes from anywhere and everywhere. They weren't that available. So he was out getting some. He came back really joyful. And he said he walked into the room with all the honchos, and it was quiet and it was somber. And he could say, is there something wrong? Did I do something wrong? And Tamal said, we decided that you're no longer Prabhupada's secretary, that we're going to take turns and you're going to have to leave the position. And he was devastated. He said he thought his life was over.
Wow.
That he thought that, what am I going to do now? That was his purpose, his joy, everything. That 2 years with Prabhupada, traveling the world, setting up things, buying properties, going to courts and meeting with higher dignitaries and just being Prabhupada's right-hand man, you know? So he was depressed. He went to sleep and he didn't get up for a week. He cried and sobbed, and finally Prabhupada called him to come in. And he came in with red, swollen eyes. And Prabhupada said, I cannot stop them. They have decided this, and my hands are tied, you know, one of those.
Wow.
And then he said, but I know that Krishna will find you in the right, to do the next right thing. And then he said, you can come and stay with me as long as you want, anytime. You can come and stay right with me. Or go get that property in England that George Harrison is promising, and I will come stay there as long as you like.
Jai.
And he said, I have never had a servant that has a secretary who has been like you. Such a special relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And did you know that Prabhupada also approved him to do that gem business?
No?
In Hyderabad. This book is amazing. I highly recommend it to everybody. You know, when they went to Hyderabad, they went to Ahmedabad, Hyderabad. They came to the wealthy part of India where all the gem mines are. Ruby mines and the diamond mines and amethyst mines. And something sparked in Shamasundar. And he began visiting this group of life members who hosted them, who loved Srila Prabhupada and were very dedicated life members. And then he decided to go into business and sell stones. Do you know anything about this, Baba Tarini and Rihari? No.
I remember and seeing also Shama Sundar, I don't know, 30 years or more ago. And we talked a little bit about that, but I knew that from before through other, my family godbrothers. And, you know, yeah, the rumor was, oh, there he is, he's trying to scam, you know, Manny. And
But Prabhupada said, you know, you read in the book exactly what Prabhupada said. He brought the gemstones in, he laid them on Prabhupada's desk. Prabhupada picked them up. Actually, it was 2 strands. They were for cows. They were precious gemstones for their cows or something. And Prabhupada put them on his neck. And he said, Prabhupada looked so effulgent. And Prabhupada listened to the plan and he approved it. He said, you can do this. Because his thought was to give the money to the temple, to raise money for the temples, right?
Right.
Prabhupada totally approved it. And then when he was leaving, he said, why don't you do that? You sell your gems. And then he made a comment to one of his, I forget who it was, in there. He said, he's still got some fantasy going on, but this should help him get over it. You know what I mean? Some illusion or fantasy of being wealthy or making money this way. But Prabhupada didn't say, no, don't do it. He actually approved him to do it.
Interesting.
Far out, right? I'm going to go on silent. There's a lot of noise here. I'm at the park.
But who
I'm at the
said
beach walking.
who said he's an illusion?
Prabhupada said that. He said he's still got some fantasy going on, but doing this work will probably cure him of that, which it kind of did after a while, right?
Right.
Yes.
But he also attributes, he got saved by the devotees. I didn't read the whole part where he's mining himself, and he comes into touch with death, and there's some exciting things ahead. But he says that the devotees came and captured him and took him back and saved his life, probably. They took
Wow.
him to a gathering of 50th anniversary. Maybe it was in England, I don't know. But they took him and they brought him back into the fold.
I know Radhanath Swami did a lot to engage him and have him speak. Yeah.
He keeps on talking about Radhanath Swami as Richie Slavin. He's still Richie Slavin then. And he circles him in the picture with his long hair. Oh, I'm so happy to see Richie here. You know.
Yeah, we are in our meetings we met Radhanath a few times, and we were at Bhakti Fest one of the times, and yeah, Shamasundar. The other time we were in LA, actually, they were waiting with very, VIPs there at a vegan restaurant, and they were waiting. So we met, Radhanath recognized us. And he said, "Oh, we're waiting for Shamasundar to come." and so yeah, they have a very nice relationship. And when Radhanath spoke in Bhakti Fest, which his follow actually has quite a follow. Shamasundar was there with a group of devotees too.
Shamasundar lives here in Santa Cruz, but he's very isolative. I don't know what's going on with him, but he keeps to himself a lot.
Yeah, when he was living in LA, he was staying at the Pyramid House, that house in Topanga, Nishingananda's place, the temple there, for many years actually. But
do you mind if I read the Krishna book?
Go ahead. Sorry. Detour.
Yeah.
I
had one thing to say. I got your the messages through Gora, and about Nrsinga's response to is about Krishna Keshava, the BI.
The whole discussion on the Bhaktivedanta Institute. It's a whole other.
Yeah. Well, no, but I think it ties up with Ranchor and
okay.
Krishna, isn't it? I mean,
I don't know.
we are in a battle actually.
Yes, we are.
If Yashura's taking over or not, and what the bodies will do or not, and what are our responsibilities.
Yeah, and how renounced are we? How renounced are we? How much are we willing to give up?
Yeah.
Give up money and facility to do the right
100%,
thing?
108%.
Yeah. Okay, so Pradyumna Prabhu has read, Nrsinga Prabhu has read, and let's see, was someone else reading? I can't remember before. I just wanted to open it up a little bit to discussing about renunciation. And how far down did we go? Does anyone remember? Who was the last to read? Nrsinga, was it you?
I think it may well have been. Yes. Therefore, his leaving the battlefield is an example of the supremmost opulence of renunciation. That's where we stopped.
You're
right.
Mic is so high, turned up so high volume on Nrsinga when he speaks, is distorting.
Oh, really?
Be very close to the microphone. Okay, so she can't read. Nrsinga Prabhu has read. Shuddha Sindhu, it's your turn, and then I haven't read, and then we'll go to Bavatrini, I guess, in your hurry, or me. I haven't read yet, but go ahead, Shuddha Sindhu.
After traversing a very long distance, the brothers pretended to become very tired. To mitigate their weariness, they climbed up a very high mountain, several miles above sea level. This mountain was called Pravasana due to constant rain. The peak was always covered with clouds sent by Indra. Jarasandha took it for granted that the two brothers were afraid of his military power and had hidden themselves at the top of the mountain. First, he tried to find them, searching for a long time, but when he failed, he decided to trap and kill them by setting fires around the peak. He therefore surrounded the pig with oil and set it on fire. As the blaze spread more and more, Krishna and Balaram jumped from the top of the mountain down to the ground, a distance of 88 miles.
Wow.
Thus, while the pig was burning up, Krishna and Balaram escaped without being seen by Jarasandha. Jarasandha concluded that the two brothers had been burned to ashes and that there was no need of further fighting. Thinking himself successful in his efforts, he left the city of Mathura and returned to his home in the kingdom of Magadha. Gradually, Krishna and Balaram reached the city of Dwarka, which was surrounded on all sides by the sea.
So I'll just take a second here. So this, okay, this is the mountain where King Muchukunda went, and let's see if I can find the mountain here. Yeah, here's the mountain. I don't know if you can see Krishna and Balaram format. Does that make it bigger? Can everyone see that?
All I can see is the book. I can't see
Yeah.
any picture.
All we can see is the text.
Really? I've just switched it over. I don't know.
We still have
It
the
was the
text.
same earlier as well when you were talking about the picture of Gandhamadana. All we could see was the text of the Krishna, 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 Hey. Now I can see Bhavatrini
Now you should be able to
and
see.
Rihari. No, it's Bhavatrini and Rihari.
There it
now
is.
So here's Krishna, and here's Balaram,
Ah,
and here's the army of this is Jarasandha, no, Kalyavan's army, because Kalyavan's dad, but his army is attacking. And there they are. This is before it gets encircled with oil and set on fire. I'm thinking, wow, what a pyromaniac, sociopath Kalyavan had to be to want to burn up Krishna and Balaram. How envious.
Well, that's Jarasandha that wants to do that. So
Jarasandha.
there's a little mixing of the two tales here.
Ah, okay.
But it's an interesting description because on the one hand, this mountain is several miles above sea level. Several miles, it's a lot, several miles. That's actually a heck of a lot. When we think of how tall mountains on Earth are, that's still a huge amount. But then when they jump off, and we're then told 88 miles.
Right.
So, was it a slight error to describe it as, by the editors or whoever, just as a few miles, or is it a few miles high, but it's also an incredibly long mountain, so that they jumped horizontally as well? I don't know. I've always personally taken it as being an 88 high mountain because that's a pretty straightforward reading. And this ties in with a little bit earlier when we're hearing how Badrikashram is in the northern part of the Himalayas, and that's where Nara and Narayan were. So we also hear about the Badrikashram where people go on pilgrimage.
There it is.
Yeah, where people go on pilgrimage. So this all gets into that confusing realm of where we read the fifth canto, or we read in the first canto also in the 16th chapter, 12th verse, the descriptions of the varshas, the descriptions of the different inhabitants of the varshas. Yeah. And you realize that most of these, this has nothing to do with Earth, nothing whatsoever. And yet at the same time, apparently, just like Badarik Ashram, there's this place where devotees go as a point of pilgrimage, but it wouldn't appear to be quite the same as the Badarik ashram. It's where Narayan Rishi are. It's in the northernmost part of the Himalayas. Prabhupada described, he said, Everest is a foothill. They haven't gone past the Himalayas. They can't.
Right.
It's not possible. And it's the same thing, just like with Lord Nrsimha. We hear about, there's these places in India. This is where Nrsimhadev washed his hands at Singapali and in Mayapur area, in Navadvip, where the pillar is somewhere else in India. At the same time, there are other descriptions that present this as being on different planets altogether. So there's this kind of confusion that somehow or other, all the holy places are both here and not here. They're within reach and they're very, very far from reach.
Like parallel universes, sort of.
Almost like that, yeah. It's
And
not
when I met you, Nishringa, I was coming back from Badarik Ashram, and we had gone to see the footprints of
that's what you were doing.
Narayan Rishi. Yes, and there was a cave that Veda Vyasadeva had stayed in, and they said he was still there.
That's it.
And
This is the
before I went, Lokanath had come with the party, and they had just come from Badranath Ashram, and they had gone to see Vyasadeva's cave, and
This
they
is
had
it.
seen, yes, and Srila Prabhupada was ready. Of course, this is right before he left, but Srila Prabhupada was ready to go get on the bus with them, or the vans, go back up there and go to Vyasadeva's cave and go see Narayan Rishi's footprints. And, so he didn't say, no, they're not here. So sometimes there'll be contradictory descriptions.
Everything is inconceivable.
But
Inconceivable,
Everything is
you have to harmonize and not try to make it mundane and then say, well, this is wrong and that is right.
Yeah, but this harmonization requires entering the area of inconceivably one and different.
Right.
But the thing is, everything is that. Everything is inconceivable. I mean, can you really conceive, like really understand a cell, an atom? Everything's inconceivable. Everything is Krishna's energy. We think that we understand so much. This we understand. We can explain this. But the more I just look at whatever it is, the more I'm understanding everything is completely inconceivable.
Yeah.
Everything.
My cousin sent me he's a neurosurgeon, professor emeritus at Yale, and he sent me it's a 40-second overview of the brain. It is absolutely amazing. So I told, and he totally believes that everything is the brain, including the conception of God, that God comes from our brain. And, so I said, isn't it fabulous? What an amazing machine! But who's the operator? I asked him. I haven't got a response yet. That was last night.
This is supposed to be
all the operators, that's
Is that the deity there?
This is the main deity in Badranath. This is his name is Badri Vishal or Badri Narayan.
Right, and the pujari during the winter is Narada Muni.
That's what I heard.
And when the snow melts and the first people come in, there's still the ghee lamp and the flowers and the burning incense that Narada Muni had just offered before they arrived.
Wow.
And there also is a place, a cave, that's beautiful, a cave where some people spent the winter one time, and the cave has a hole in it with the hot water. And so they were able to stay warm and cook in this little cave room. And they stayed there the entire winter. That was
Who did that? Who did that?
Just some people. They weren't even sadhus, I don't think. They were just they were from India. They just decided to stay there for the winter. And there's a big column with their names on it. It was in the 60s or 60s or 70s.
So this is Lord Badrinath in the center, in Padmasan, and
Mhm.
this is to his right side standing. This is Uddhava,
Uh,
and to the far right side is Nara and Narayan, and Narada Muni is kneeling here, and
he's
on
sporting a Sika like you had, Gora.
Well, at least I know I'm in the Narada Muni Sampradaya. That's
Yes.
and, and Kubera is supposed to be on the left side is Kubera, this the god of wealth. On the left side. Okay, where
on
would
our
Next to
Kubera
Ganesh.
on our left.
it says on the left side are Kubera, the god of wealth, and a silver Ganesh. So that's Kubera here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and Ganesh to the
Ganesh there. And Garuda is kneeling in front to the left of Badri Narayan.
So who's that next to Kubera?
Kubera, that's Uddhava, and
Oh, that's
Yeah,
Uddhava.
Uddhava.
Oh, Uddhava.
and Sri
and I
Lakshmi.
assume this must
Yeah,
be
that's a
Lakshmi
little, hold
Devi.
on, because Uddhava is standing to the right, and to the far
Yeah.
right, Narayan. But
Yeah.
it's a little confusing because actually to the right we see Uddhava, and the next to him is Kubera and Ganesh. On the other side, Lakshmi is there, and then Narayan.
Different version of the same.
Ah,
Yeah. Where's Uddhava? Oh, he's little there. Okay, little.
oh, this is a different picture. I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Narayan all the way to the left there,
Mhm.
which they are in the other picture as well. It's
Yes.
just described. They got it right.
Incorrectly, I think.
Yeah.
And this is Uddhava deity, Utsavamurti,
Wow.
or I'm not. Yeah, I think this is Uddhava. Yeah,
Wow.
Utsavamurti, Badri Vishal. He's ancient.
Badri Vishal is.
Vishal is like a step, right? I mean, it's like a block, just like the Vishala deity, Vishal deity in what's his name down South India, Vishal, beautiful deity of the Krishna who had left Rukmini when she was in Man, and he tried to placate her, and it didn't work, and she stayed annoyed, and he went, well, forget this, and then he went to South India. What is that?
Rukmini was in Man.
Yes, but it's not like Radharani's man. Krishna is not controlled by it.
Because
She
in the
wouldn't give it
Krishna
up.
book,
Krishna left.
she wouldn't go into Man. She fainted when he
No,
tried.
but this is a particular instance where she got upset, and Krishna went. What's his name? Paduranga, also known as Vishalji. In South India, Southwest India. I've seen this deity. He's the most beautiful, sweet, extraordinary deity that you can get darshan. If you're very fortunate, you can wrap your arms around the back of his legs while you put your head on his feet. Padmaranga.
This is what we read. Sorry, go on.
The famous deity who's standing on a brick because he went to see his devotee, whose name was Pundarik, but it's not, obviously it's not Pundarik Vidyanidhi, but his name was Pundarik. And Pundarik, when Krishna got there, Pundarik was serving his parents. And he told Krishna, you must wait. I just have to finish my responsibility. And I remember reading, but I can't remember the explanation of what kind of responsibility is this, that it's okay for him to ask Krishna to wait. So Krishna is standing on a brick or a vishala, and with his arms on his hips, And that's how the deity looks. And he's just waiting a little bit impatiently, waiting for his devotee to come and feed him. And then eventually Rukmini came and joined him there when she knew that he'd gone there. And she gave up all her upset because it wasn't getting her anywhere. So very, very special. There's a huge, huge mela takes place there every year. And these devotees of Tukaram, who we've heard took Nam from Sri Chaitanya, Tukaram, so there's a huge, huge festival there where literally millions of people come to see this deity. Beautiful deity, Padmaranga. Paduranga, or Vishal. So Vishala refers to this, why I got into that. Vishal means a step, like a brick, like a step to stand on.
Thank you. So this is what we've already discussed. This is King Muchukunda heading off. The background that you see behind me, that's the Ganda Madana mountain to meditate upon the Lord. This is his renunciation as well. And here's the original painting of Krishna Balaram jumping off the Pravarshana mountain, 88 miles. Not just 8 miles high, but 88 miles high. And it's burning. It's fire and smoke. This is a more modern version. I don't know who did this one.
The number 88, it counts on each yojana is 8 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 miles, almost 10 miles.
What
Is
is
it?
I remember when
I'm saying 88, it will be like 10 yojanas.
Wow. I remember when I first read this pastime as a new bhakta, I was just totally amazed that God was jumping 88 miles from a mountain.
holding hands? They held hands and jumped off the mountain.
And having fun. Psychic.
I watched the movie of this guy the other day on a paramotor. It was a big parachute, and he had some kind of like a big fan behind him, and he went up 17,500 feet up in the air, and he had a cell phone, and he was filming himself like almost 18,000 feet in the air. It was crazy. I was thinking, wow, that's one way to risk your life. He said he's not going to do it again, though.
Oh, Nahush is from Paduranga.
Oh, okay. All
Thank you,
right,
Nahush. Yes.
Yeah, just wanted to say,
time there, Paduranga. Yeah.
yeah, it's in the city of Pune. Yeah, it's where Krishna and Rukmini they're standing on a brick, and I've heard that pastime before. Thank you for sharing.
It's an incredible temple, and around that temple, they have all these. They seem like parking decks, many multi-story parking decks. The reason is during a special festival that occurs there every year, and that's when I happen to show up. There are millions of people come, and if they were all standing in a line waiting to go to see the deity, that line would stretch for miles and miles and miles. So they've created all these areas on the way to the deity so that they have these lines of people going, up into like parking deck areas so they can condense the number of people. And I was very fortunate. I met a devotee when I went there. He said, you must come and see the deity. And he got me past, like people were waiting for 10, 12 hours. 24, 30 hours sleeping overnight in these areas just to stay in line to go see the deity. He managed to get me all the way through, and for a small bribe to a police officer in there, like a few hundred rupees, I was able to go right up to the deity. That's what I was mentioning, the most extraordinary deity. Can you imagine coming up to the deity, putting your head on his feet with your arms behind his calves? It's the most intimate, like obeisances, and is a very unusual texture deity. Never forget this. It was so sweet. Panduranga, Panduranga.
Nahush
Yeah.
Prabhu is here. So could you read next, please, Nahush, and then Bhava, Trimi,
Yes.
and Hari?
That was an amazing story. Nishinga Prabhu, that was amazing. Thanks.
Hare Krishna.
Ah,
Yes.
Nahush, could you please
Yeah.
read?
Yeah. What am I reading? Is I see the photos right now, the PowerPoint.
Oh, excuse, for me, I'm looking at the text.
Ah,
So I guess I have to get out and then I have to come back in. Um, share the screen. Here we go.
yep, I can read. As soon as I see it, it's coming up. Okay. Following this, Sri Balaram married Revati, daughter of King Revata, ruler of the Anurta province. This is explained in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. After the marriage of Baladev, Krishna married Rukmini. Rukmini was the daughter of King Bhishmaka, ruler of the province known as Vidarbha. Just as Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead Vasudeva, Rukmini is the supreme goddess of fortune Mahalakshmi. Or according to the authority of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the expansion of Krishna and Sri Radharani is simultaneous. Krishna expands himself into various Vishnu Tattva forms, and Srimati Radharani extends herself into various Shakti Tattva forms by her internal potency as multi-forms of the goddess of fortune. According to Vedic convention, there are 8 kinds of marriages. In the first-class marriage system, the parents of the bride and bridegroom arrange the marriage date. Then, in royal style, the bridegroom goes to the house of the bride, and in the presence of the brahmanas, priests, and relatives, the bride is given in charity to the bridegroom. Besides this, there are other systems, such as the Gandharva and the Rakshasa marriages. Rukmini was married to Krishna in the Rakshasa style because she was kidnapped by him, the presence of his many rivals, like Shishupal, Jarashanda, Salva, and others. While Rukmini was being given in charity to Shishupal, she was snatched from the marriage arena by Krishna, exactly as Garuda snatched the pot of nectar from the demons. Rukmini is the only daughter of King Bhishmaka, who was exquisitely beautiful. She was known as Ruchirnana, which means one who has a beautiful face expanding like a lotus flower. Should I continue?
No, that was 2 paragraphs you read. It's Bhava,
Yep.
Trimi, or Hari's.
Okay.
Devotees of Krishna are always anxious to hear about the transcendental activities of the Lord. His activities of fighting, kidnapping, and running away from the battlefield are all transcendental, being on the absolute platform. And devotees take a transcendental interest in hearing of them. The pure devotee does not make the distinction that some activities of the Lord should be heard and others should be avoided. There is, however, a class of so-called devotees known as Prakrita Sahaja, who are very interested in hearing about Krishna's Rasa Leela with the gopis, but not about his fighting activities with his enemies. They do not know that his bellicose activities and his friendly activities with the gopis are equally transcendental, being on the absolute platform. Transcendental pastimes of Krishna described in the Srimad Bhagavatam are relished by pure devotees through submissive oral reception. They do not reject even a drop. The story of Krishna's marriage with Rukmini is described as follows. The king of Vidarbha, Maharaj Bhishmaka, was a very qualified and devoted prince. He had 5 sons and only 1 daughter. The first son was known as Rukmi, the second Rukmaratha, the third Rukma Bahu, the fourth and youngest Rukma Kesha, and the fifth Rukma Mali. Well, why is the fourth the youngest and the fifth? The brothers had one young sister, Rukmini. She was beautiful and chaste and was meant to be married to Lord Krishna. Many saintly persons and sages like Narada Muni and others used to visit the palace of King Bhishmaka. Naturally, Rukmini had a chance to talk with them, and in this way she obtained information about Krishna. She was informed about the 6 opulences of Krishna, and simply by hearing about him, she desired to surrender herself to his lotus feet and become his wife. Krishna had also heard of Rukmini. She was the reservoir of all transcendental qualities: intelligence, liberal-mindedness, exquisite beauty, and righteous behavior. Krishna therefore decided that she was fit to be his wife. All of the family members and relatives of King Bhishmaka decided that Rukmini should be given in marriage to Krishna. However, her elder brother Rukmi, despite the desire of the others, arranged for her marriage with Sishupal, a determined enemy of Krishna. You went too far. When the black-eyed, beautiful Rukmini heard the settlement, she immediately became very morose. However, being a king's daughter, she understood political diplomacy and decided that there was no use in simply being morose. Some steps should be taken immediately. After some deliberation, she decided to send a message to Krishna. And so that she might not be deceived, she selected a qualified Brahmin as her messenger. Such a qualified Brahmin is always truthful and is a devotee of Vishnu. Without delay, the Brahmin was sent to Dwarka.
Just before you continue, Nirhari Prabhu, I'm just wondering, now that I've switched screens, can everyone see that I've switched screens? Can you see the slideshow or not?
No.
I wonder why. Why can't I just change over so freely? I don't know why. Okay. And I'll switch over to sharing the screen. It's still print on the screen? It's not art?
I can't see anything. Oh.
It's you now, Goa.
Okay,
Now
It's
it's
art
you.
now.
now it's art.
Yeah, okay, so there's Princess Rukmini sending a message to Krishna. It's from a piece called The Abduction of Rukmini from the 18th century in Himachal Pradesh. You can see she's writing and finishing up her letter and giving it to the messenger. And
What
then
makes
the next,
something Kangra?
sorry,
Start
in Kangra.
the area
Yeah.
she was reading.
And then here's Pushkar's painting of Krishna receiving Rukmini's letter that he's reading.
Mm.
And then the next painting here is a Pushkar's painting of the letter carrier bringing the letter for the eager Rukmini. So I searched for those paintings.
Wow.
Okay, can you see the writing now, or is it still stuck on the painting?
So
Only
the
paintings only.
Oh, how do I make the smooth transition, Shikarani, from the slideshow back to the painting? How do I do that?
Both are different slideshows, right?
No, I'm talking about going to the writing on the screen. I'm looking at the writing right now, but not everyone can see it.
So you are only sharing your, you should, so maybe I think you are not sharing your whole screen. Because if you are sharing the whole screen, we should be able to see everything on your screen. So when you share screen, what do you select? Do you select window or you select tab? You have to select your whole desktop.
I just choose your screen sharing. That's all I do.
When you click on screen sharing, it will ask, what do you want to share? There you have to select your whole desktop.
It sounds very familiar, Gaur Prabhu.
It says, I've got chosen one participant can share at a time. Then it says multiple participants can share simultaneously. Then
No,
advanced
not
sharing
that thing.
options is the third choice.
Not that one. So when you click on share screen, it will always ask you which screen do you want to share. Do you want to
It
share?
never asks me that. It never asks me that. I'm sorry.
Okay, can you so can you allow multiple participants to share? I'll show what I'm trying to say. Can you allow?
Yep. So now I'm trying to go to here.
So yeah, I clicked on my share screen button and it's asking me, it's giving me a whole screen where I can show, so where it says desktop one, then it says the different browser pages which are open in my desktop. So you have to always select desktop there.
Are you able to see what needs to be read, Nirihari Prabhu?
I can read. I can see it. Shall I go on?
Please.
Reaching the gate of Dwarka, the Brahmana informed the doorkeeper of his arrival, and the doorkeeper led him to the place where Krishna was sitting on a golden throne. Since the Brahmana had the opportunity to be Rukmini's messenger, he was fortunate enough to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is the original cause of all causes. The Brahmana is the spiritual teacher of all social divisions. Lord Sri Krishna, in order to teach everyone the Vedic etiquette of how to respect a Brahman, immediately got up and offered his throne. When the Brahmana was seated on the golden throne, Lord Sri Krishna began to worship him exactly in the manner in which the demigods worship Krishna. In this way, he taught everyone that worshiping his devotee is more valuable than worshiping himself. So I continue? Or? In due time, the Brahmana took his bath, accepted his meals, and took to rest on a bedstead completely bedecked with soft silk. As he was resting, Lord Krishna silently approached and with great respect put the Brahman's legs on his lap and began to massage them. In this way, Krishna appeared before the Brahmana and said, "My dear Brahmana, I hope that you are executing the religious principles without any difficulty and that your mind is always in a peaceful condition." Unquote. Different classes of people in the social system are engaged in various professions, and when one inquires as to the well-being of a particular person, it must be done on the basis of that person's occupation. Therefore, when one inquires as to the welfare of a Brahmin, the questions should be worded according to his condition of life as not to disturb him. A peaceful mind is the basis for becoming truthful, clean, equiposed, self-control, and tolerant. Thus, by attaining knowledge and knowing its practical application in life, one becomes convinced about the absolute truth. The Brahmana knew Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and still he accepted the respectful service of the Lord on the grounds of Vedic social convention. Lord Sri Krishna was playing just like a human being, belonging to the Kshatriya division of the social system, and being a young boy, it was his duty to show respect to such a Brahmana.
Sikarani, you haven't read.
Yeah. Lord Krishna continued, "O best of all the Brahmanas, you should always remain satisfied, because if a Brahmana is always self-satisfied, he will not deviate from his prescribed duties. And simply by sticking to one's prescribed duties, everyone, especially the Brahmanas, can attain the highest perfection of all desires. Even if a person is as opulent as the king of heaven, Indra, if he is not satisfied, he inevitably has to transmigrate from one planet to another. Such a person can never be happy under any circumstances. But if a person's mind is satisfied, even if he's bereft of his high position, he can be happy living anywhere and everywhere. The instruction of Krishna to the Brahmana is very significant. The purpose is that a true Brahmana should not be disturbed in any situation. In this modern age of Kali Yuga, the so called Brahmanas have accepted the abominable position of the Sudras or less than Sudras and still want to pass as qualified Brahmanas. Actually, a qualified Brahmana always sticks to his own duties and never accepts those of a Shudra or one of less than a Shudra. It is advised in the authorized scriptures that a Brahmana may, under awkward circumstances, accept the profession of a Kshatriya or even a Vaishya, but never he accept the profession of a Sudra. Lord Krishna declared that a Brahmana should never be disturbed by any adverse condition of life if he scrupulously sticks to his religious principles. In conclusion, Lord Sri Krishna said, I am I offer my respectful obeisances to the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas because the Brahmanas are always self-satisfied and the Vaishnavas are always engaged in actual welfare activities for the human society. They are the best friends of the people in general. Both are free from false egoism and are always in a peaceful condition of mind.
Lord Krishna then desired to know about the rulers, Kshatriyas, in the Brahmin's kingdom. So he inquired whether the citizens of the kingdom were all happy. A king's qualification is judged by the temperament of the people in the kingdom. If they are very happy in all respects, it is to be understood that the king is honest and executing his duties rightly. Krishna said that the king in whose kingdom the citizens are happy is very dear to him. Of course, Krishna could understand that the Brahmin had come with a confidential message. Therefore, he said, if you have no objection, I am giving you permission to speak about your mission. Thus, being very satisfied by these transcendental pastimes with the Lord, the Brahmin narrated the whole story of his mission to come and see Krishna. He got out the letter which Rukmini had written to Krishna and said, these are the words of Princess Rukmini. My dear Krishna, O infallible and most beautiful one, any human being who happens to hear about your transcendental form and pastimes immediately absorbs through his ears your name, fame, and qualities. Thus all his material pangs subside, and he fixes your form in his heart. Through such transcendental love for you, he sees you always within himself, and by this process all his desires become fulfilled. Similarly, I have heard of your transcendental qualities. I may be shameless in expressing myself so directly, but you have captivated me and taken my heart. You may suspect that I am an unmarried girl, young in age, and may doubt my steadiness of character, but my dear Mukunda, you are the supreme lion among the human beings, the supreme person among persons. Any girl, although not yet out of her home, or any woman who might be of the highest chastity, would desire to marry you, being captivated by your unprecedented character, knowledge, opulence, and position. I know that you are the goddess, the husband of the goddess of fortune, and that you are very kind toward your devotees. Therefore, I have decided to become your eternal maidservant. My dear Lord, I dedicate my life and soul unto your lotus feet. I have accepted your lordship as my selected husband, and I therefore request you to accept me as your wife. You are the supreme powerful, O lotus-eyed one. Now I belong to you. If that which is enjoyable for the lion to eat is taken away by the jackal, it will be a ludicrous affair. Therefore, I request you to immediately take care of me before I am taken away by Shishupal and other princes like him. My dear Lord, in my previous life, I may have done public welfare work like digging wells and growing trees, or pious activities such as performing ritualistic ceremonies and sacrifices, and serving the superior spiritual master, the Brahmins and Vaishnavas. By these activities, perhaps I have pleased the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. If this is so, then I wish that you, Lord Krishna, the brother of Lord Balaram, would please come here and catch hold of my hand so that I may not be touched by Shishupal and his company. The original love letter. So, I don't know how many more paragraphs. One, two, three, four. Just four paragraphs left. So maybe we could just, devotees could just read one paragraph each. Um, and after
I
me,
do have
let's
a
see.
song. I do have a song for the kidnapping of Rukmini.
You do?
Yes, yeah,
Okay, cool. Is your guitar tuned up?
our guitars.
Ready to go? Why don't we read these four paragraphs? Why don't we read
Okay,
these four paragraphs and then we'll hear your song.
okay.
Pradyumna Prabhu, would you like to read next Rukmini's marriage?
Want me to read again?
Yes, please.
Rukmini's marriage with Shishupal was already settled, and therefore she suggested that Krishna kidnap her so that this might be changed. This sort of marriage, in which the girl is kidnapped by force, is known as Rakshasa and is practiced among the Kshatriyas, or the administrative, martial, spirited type of men. Because her marriage was already arranged to take place the next day, Rukmini suggested that Krishna come there incognito to kidnap her and then fight with Shishupal and his allies like the king of Magadha. Knowing that no one could conquer Krishna and that he would certainly emerge victorious, she addressed him as Ajit, the unconquerable. Rukmini told Krishna not to be concerned that many of her family members, including the other women, might be wounded or even killed if the fighting took place within the palace. As the king of a country thinks of diplomatic ways to achieve his object, similarly, Rukmini, being the daughter of a king, was diplomatic in suggesting how this unnecessary and undesirable killing could be avoided.
Narasimha Prabhu?
She explained that it was the custom of her family to visit the temple of the goddess Durga, their family deity, before a marriage. The Kshatriya kings were mostly staunch Vaishnavas, worshipping Lord Vishnu in either Radha Krishna or Lakshmi Narayan form. Still, for their material welfare, they used to worship the goddess Durga. They never made the mistake, however, of accepting the demigods as the supreme lord on the level of Vishnu Tattva, as did some less intelligent men. In order to avoid the unnecessary killing of her relatives, Rukmini suggested that it be easier for him to kidnap her while she was either going from the palace to the temple or else while she was returning home.
Now, who is
She
Prabhu?
also,
Just one paragraph each so we can, because we
Yes,
only have three paragraphs left. Why don't you read half of this paragraph and then Ashuta Sindhu read the other half because it's a long one.
sure. She also explained to Krishna why she was so anxious to be married to him, even though her marriage was to take place with Shishupal, who was also qualified, being the son of a great king. Rukmini said that she did not think anyone was greater than Krishna, not even Lord Shiva, who is known as Mahadev, the greatest of all demigods. Lord Shiva also seeks the pleasure of Lord Krishna in order to be delivered from his entanglement in the quality of ignorance within the material world. In spite of the fact that Lord Shiva is the greatest of all great souls, Mahatmas, he keeps on his head the purifying water of Ganges, which emanates from a hole in the material universe. One second, I had a call in the middle. A hole, keeps on head purifying water of Ganges, which emanates from a hole in the material universe made by the toe of Lord Vishnu. Should I stop there?
Yeah, Ashuta Sindhu, please continue.
Lord Shiva is in charge of the material quality of ignorance, and in order to keep himself in a transcendental position, he always meditates on Lord Vishnu. Therefore, Rukmini knew very well that obtaining the favor of Krishna was not an easy job. If even Lord Shiva must purify himself for this purpose, surely it would be difficult for Rukmini, who was only the daughter of a Kshatriya king. Thus, she desired to dedicate her life to observing severe austerities penances such as fasting and going without bodily comforts. If it were not possible in this lifetime to gain Krishna's favor by these activities, she was prepared to do the same lifetime after lifetime. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that pure devotees of the Lord execute devotional service with great determination. Such determination, as exhibited by Rukmini Devi, is the only price for purchasing Krishna's favor and is the way to ultimate success in Krishna consciousness.
Anne, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Would you do the honors of reading the last short paragraph? Or could you? I'm not sure if this is Anne from Ottawa Temple region. Would you like to read, Anne? The final paragraph? It's only a couple of sentences long. Sikarani, would you like to end the evening? I don't think Anne can hear.
The last paragraph?
Yeah.
After explaining Rukmini Devi's statement to Krishna, the Brahmana said, "My dear Krishna, chief of the Yadu dynasty, I have brought this confidential message for you from Rukmini. Now it is placed before you for your consideration. After due deliberation, you can act as you please. But if you want to do something, you must do it immediately. There is not much time left for action." Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 51st chapter of Krishna, Krishna the Ranchor.
I really appreciate how Rukmini Devi is very assertive. She's talking to the Supreme Lord and she says, you can act as you please, but if you want to do something, you better do it right now. There's no time to be left. There's no time to waste. I appreciate her assertiveness. She can assert herself in this way. So,
Well, she was very assertive,
yes.
but not there. That was the Brahmana speaking on her behalf who said that. But during the letter, she said, if you know, she was diplomatically saying, look, you don't want to cause trouble in the palace and kill people, including ladies. You can come and
Right.
get me at this time. You can come, you know, so, but this is her service. This is her service.
Her service to be Krishna's wife, you mean?
Tell him what to do. No, I wasn't. No, I didn't mean like that, but that's, you know, that's part of it. Krishna plays the part of the henpecked, you know, husband. I think Prabhupada mentioned that, you know, it's like, this is part of it. But no, it's her service. In other words, she's creating the ways in which Krishna's own desires can be fulfilled, because she wants to be his wife, his servant, because this is, of course, Krishna's own desire.
Mm-hmm. She's reciprocating with the Lord according to his. But that must also be her desire too, obviously, the way she expresses herself.
Definitely. Yeah.
So Bhavatarini and Hari, are you tuned up? Are you ready to play us your Rukmini hit?
Yeah, we are.
Can you please speak the lyrics to us first, so that when we hear you singing, we can appreciate the words even more?
Here are the words.
Her lips are. You can read it to us? It'd be easier.
Okay. There's the picture.
You did that? You did
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Hold it up for a second longer, please. You're quite a talented artist.
So it's her lips are soft pink and her eyes are bright green. She is just meant to be Lord Krishna's queen. She walks with grace and her waist is quite thin. Krishna thinks of her, she thinks of him. Her brother is a fool. Her brother is quite cruel. He wants her to marry Shishupal. Princess Rukmini, what can you do? Write to Lord Krishna for your rescue. Please come here and take hold of my hand before I am touched by this sinful man. Then the chorus. Coming from the temple before the wedding day, Rukmini saw Krishna on the way. For the other princes, he had no care. He just took her like a lion takes his share. But Krishna is God, so what can they do if he decides to give rescue? Rukmini Dwarkadish, now they do reign. Everyone knows their holy names. Others may be fools, others may be cruel, but if you desire, Krishna will save you.
Wow, that's sweet. Now, are you on a telephone right now, or are you on a
No,
laptop?
we're on a laptop.
Good, because someone told me if you go up here into your left corner of your screen, and Pradyumna will know about this because he's the sound man, and also Shikarani should know because she's a digital mata
Okay,
wizard.
what do I do?
Because there's different choices. On mine, I can either choose MacBook Air microphone, MacBook Air microphone, or
We
what
have
it says original sound on, and that's supposed to give the best quality sound. Did you know that?
No,
no.
but I,
Can you hear us now? So it's original sound on. Is that
where?
what it is?
I don't
Can't you
see
In
see?
the in the left corner of your screen, the actual screen of the Zoom.
it says
Pradyumna, can you
about this
explain?
Mac. It says
Or-
about this Mac. That's the Apple. And then about Zoom, preferences, provide Zoom feedback, check for updates, uninstall, hide Zoom, sign in. Then on Apple, it says system preferences. But we actually have,
Shikarani, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you are talking about the audio thing.
Yes, the best quality
So
audio.
basically, do you see anything like video settings in the bottom? So there is mute, and then there is video settings option, right? Video settings, audio settings.
no, I don't see. I
So,
have mute,
so,
I have video.
so in your screen, there will be a mute button, right? There is an arrow. If you click that, you will see audio settings there.
I don't see a mute button.
Oh, the mic.
The far left corner, there should be a little
mute,
microphone.
it says mute my audio if I touch the mic.
No, but there should be an arrow besides that.
Arrow says same as system, built-in mic,
Last setting is audio settings, right? The last option.
audio settings.
In
Okay,
that, you can see settings, different settings. Is
Okay.
that where Gaura Prabhu you want her to change speaker or something?
I'm going to ask Pradyumna again, or did he leave?
What did you say? Can you say it again?
What I'm stressing here is to get the finest quality for the musical instruments. Because from what I understand, there's a different sound quality for musical instruments compared to the voice. And I was told that when you put, like, I have original sound on, and that's supposed to be the best setting.
So this is a setting of Mac or Zoom? That's what I'm asking.
Hmm.
So
As far as I know, it's for the
Actually,
Zoom.
we have a mic, we have an external mic connected to our laptop, which was done by a sound engineer. And then if we wanted to, we could hook up some amplifiers to the system, but we didn't do that. And then that would mic our instruments. If we
I'm
put
just talking
them
about
in.
the quality of Zoom. That's all I'm addressing.
Okay. Well, we have,
Mine says original sound on, and I was told that's the best quality, and that shows in the left, not the far left corner, but the corner lower than that,
That's great.
on the video itself. Mine says original sound on, live on YouTube. That's what the message I have on my screen. Do you have
and
any
you're
message?
sure that's connected to this?
It's right on the screen. It's just above a little bit above your head.
I don't see it. I can't find it.
Okay, all right.
Find it.
I just wanted to maximize the quality because sometimes the instruments they fade in and fade out. They don't sound clear always. So I was trying to maximize your sound quality.
Well, I'd like to know how to do it, but I don't see.
Yeah,
anything.
so the thing is that
It says settings, speaker, test speaker, built-in output headphone. And it says I'm on headphones, but I'm not. I don't, it
Yeah, that's
says,
because the speakers that come out.
oh, the
those
speakers are
coming
plugged
from
into the headphone thing. So it says I'm on output headphones.
But the mic is installed.
And it,
Yeah, I am seeing that option, the original sound option right now. So it is only in a few laptops. It's not on all laptops. So your laptop is which one?
it's a Mac Pro laptop. It's an old one from 2014.
When I hit the settings beside that little
Oh, I
mute,
understood. I saw it. So
the
now
little
I'm
mute
seeing.
arrow voice going up, if I look through the settings, it's checked. Automatically adjust microphone volume is checked. And then suppress background noise is on auto. And then at the bottom where it says music and professional audio, it says show.
Yeah, that's coming for you because you are the host.
I
It won't
have it
for
too.
others.
It says show in meeting options to enable original source.
Good, you got that checked?
Yes, but can you hear me okay?
Good, yes. Yeah,
And then it says echo cancellation, and then it has high fidelity music mode.
okay, sounds good.
That
All right.
settings is under which one?
Under music and professional audio.
And
Show,
that's coming under audio settings, right?
yes.
Also, your audio settings are better than mine because I don't have that settings in mine.
And then it has stereo audio, but I don't need that.
When did you write this, Bavatrini?
I don't remember, like, it was for, I don't remember.
Okay,
No, I don't know if it was for a puppet show or
can you come in and pick the screen a little bit, Nurhari Prabhu? We just see
I
your
will
hand.
bump into my better half.
we could, yeah.
The worst half, okay, I don't have to show up.
Okay, it's silly. Just if I get behind you, you can come in
No,
front.
because you're the singer.
All right, are we supposed to join? Are we supposed to join in the chorus?
No, it'll echo.
Okay, we can put our mute on.
I probably need the words. I haven't played this for a long time. No, it's, I think it's okay. I pretty much know it. It's just, I don't remember when I wrote it. I know that it was written when I was working on the illustrations for the coloring book back in 1980. It was already an old song then, so I don't remember.
Okay.
And I wrote it with a harmonium, and it took me a minute to figure out. He had to show me what to play on the guitar. Her lips are soft pink, and her eyes are bright green. She was just meant to be Lord Krishna's queen. She walks with grace, and her waist is quite thin. Krishna thinks of her, she thinks of him. Her brother is a fool, her brother is quite cruel. He wants her to marry Shishupal. Princess Rukmini, what can you do? Write to Lord Krishna for your rescue. Please come here and take hold of my hand before I am touched by this sinful man. Her brother is a fool, her brother is quite cruel. He wants wants her to marry Shishuka. Coming from the temple before the wedding day, Rukmini saw Krishna on the way. For the other princess, he had no care. He took her just like a lion takes his share. Her brother is a fool, her brother is quite cruel. He wants her to marry Shishuka. But Krishna is God, so what can one do if he decides to give rescue? Rukmini Dwarkadish, now they do reign. Everyone knows their holy names. Her brother is the fool, her brother is quite cruel. He wants her to marry Shishuka. Others may be fools, others may be cools, but if you desire, Krishna will save you.
It's been 20 years since we played
No,
last
we
time.
played it recently.
Thank
It's in
you.
our Ratha Yatra live album.
Very nice.
We won Hawaii Music Awards today.
Pradyumna Prabhu has got two little ones. What's the ages of your children now, Pradyumna?
4 and 1.
4 and 1. Yeah, so I wanted Pradyumna to hear all of your children's songs, Bhavatrini and Hari. And
Oh,
also,
yeah.
Shuddha Sindhu, how old is your little son?
Oh, my son,
Yeah.
he's okay.
How
I let
old,
them stay at home. I don't let them go to school yet.
how old is he? What age?
9 years old.
Yeah. So your kids should be hearing these songs of Bhavatrini and Hari. How many do you have total, Bhavatrini?
Oh, well, I have 2 songbook coloring books for children, so that's 18 songs.
Wow.
They're written for children. Yeah.
And those songs are for children of all ages.
Right.
Brought me to tears. They're just so touching. All of us. Haribol.
Thank you.
We're so
We are
lucky.
Children of Krishna.
Thank you.
Welcome, Nityalila. Glad you could. I don't hope you heard a little bit of their song of Rukmini.
We should send you some coloring books with the Bhagavad Gitas. We haven't
was
shipped them yet. Huh?
It was so wonderful. It was so wonderful. And it felt like the voice came from your heart.
Thank you.
Yeah, she has a dog. Do we need to the address you sent us? Do we need to add on a postal number or like that? Can you please send us today a text and then we'll ship it tomorrow? We couldn't get to town today.
Oh, so sorry I became late actually. I would be definitely sending you out. Yeah.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, we'll send you a couple of coloring books and CDs.
Wonderful.
People don't usually have CD players, but we still have CDs. And we also have music that's not with the coloring books. But we put this song on our we played this at Rath Yatra and live, and we we had a recording made, and it won the Hawaii Music Awards. The album Rath Yatra Live won the Hawaii Awards for Best World Music.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So all your songs, your main songs are online. If Pradyumna Prabhu or Ishwara Sindhu want to download them for their kids?
Was it Bandcamp? Or
Well, my two
YouTube, you
songbook
also-
coloring books with the album, music albums are on Bandcamp under Songs of India and Krishna's Songs by Bhavatarini Dasan.
They can access your music at Songs of India.
Right, and Krishna's songs. And then on YouTube, you can find some of our music
So
too.
that is Bandcamp.
Bandcamp, yeah, you can buy the downloads of the music.
Yeah.
And if you want the coloring books or the CDs, you can get them from me and Narihari. And then we have a few more albums. We have Rathayatra Live,
Jaya.
and we have Jaya, and we have some story tapes, like old-fashioned radio shows, like Krishna Kanti did. We have several of those.
Oh, we have Govardhan with
Yeah,
Chutananda.
Achyutananda narrating
So-
on Govardhan.
Narayan, place Indra.
So
And Baba, what was Srila Narayan Maharaj's favorite songs? He always used to ask for certain songs, right? He liked,
Yeah.
you did? Which
He
was that?
he liked chanting.
Chanting,
Yeah,
chanting.
and
Yeah.
Gora's done covers of that one. And Narihari would sing
Brahma Gita.
that, and he said he could understand the English, and that one the best.
He liked
That's a beautiful one. Oh, that's so beautiful.
the Bumblebee too.
Oh yeah, he really liked Bumblebee.
Bumblebee,
And
bumblebee.
then there's
Oh.
Krishna Chaitanya, a different style than the one you sing.
Ah,
More Gora sings rock and roll version
Richard
that's
Rush's
on-
version.
that's on my CD, but I do a more folk style of the
Right.
song.
I was just wondering about reflections for what we read tonight.
Okay.
One of the things that stood out for me was how Srila Prabhupada was explaining that, well, two things that stood out for me. One reason that Krishna left the battlefield, he said he had some more important business to take care of, which seemed to be, attending to Rukmini, right? But the other thing it said is that he didn't want to kill so many soldiers. And I thought that was interesting because yada yada hi dharmasya paritranaya sadhunam, Krishna comes to protect his devotees and to annihilate the demons. So I thought, well, why would Krishna want to be, holding back some of his mercy? He could be killing more of the demoniac soldiers and doing them a favor. But it said that he didn't want to kill, he already killed so many and he didn't want to kill any more. Of course, Krishna can do whatever he wants. But I'm just saying, if you look at Krishna's mercy as also killing demoniac soldiers, then
Maybe they weren't demoniac. Maybe they were just under the control and were
Okay.
like imprisoned or chained, like
okay.
like Bhishma and
Dronacharya.
yeah, Dronacharya. They weren't demons, but they had to fight,
Right.
like for the wrong side. So maybe
That was
these
in order
weren't
to
demons.
encourage Duryodhan to fight.
Right. Pradyumna just put up the
specifically.
link for your songs, bhavahari.bandcamp.com. Thank you, Pradyumna. And the other thing that I found interesting is Prabhupada was saying that that one should not make a distinction between hearing about Rasa Leela and the more intimate pastimes of the Lord, and the more Prabhupada used the word again, bellicose, the bellicose activity. But I'm just thinking, if I think about it, devotees are definitely a lot more into talking about, the gopis and, more, I mean, it's rare that you hear, I really love that Jarasandha story, Krishna really socked it to him, and, I really like how he killed Kalyavan, and it's like, you don't hear that much from devotees. You know what I'm trying to say?
But in the same phrase, he says that it's all in the same transcendental platform.
Right.
So it's like if we make distinction between all the Vishnu forms and Krishna, they're all Vishnu Tattva. So it would be an offense to say that one is different than the other.
But then you
At
can,
the same time, on Rasa Tattva, Krishna is supreme.
so you can have your likes and leanings on one under a different category.
But don't make an exclusive thing. Oh, I don't want to hear anything about, the fighting of Jarasandha or anything of the
That's
Krishna.
what one godbrother said to me as he was like going very deep into studying about Raganuga Bhakti. I said, what about Bhagavad Gita? He said, oh, I'll probably never read Bhagavad Gita again. I said, what? Why? He said, no, that's not really my mood. That's, I'm, and he didn't really
Like
We
say,
just
you missed. Do you remember the interview that you just made with Nyasi Maharaj
Nyasi,
and the letter that Prabhupada where they're together,
Sridhar Maharaj.
Sridhar Maharaj, and he
Yes.
says, to those who worship me with devotion and love, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me.
uh-huh.
And Sriman, Srila Dev Goswami Maharaj, he said, this is very Rashik verse.
He said it's Parakiya.
It's Parakiya Ras. But it's only for those who are Rashik that can see that the actual book is all exalting Braj and then exalting that Krishna of Braj. And then of course among them, all the different devotees of Braj and all culminating Radharani. But that's the Paramahamsas who can extract that. So to negate Krishna can satisfy at all levels. Everybody's get wisdom, isn't it? Bhagavad Gita, you can split it into knowledge for the karmis, knowledge in the middle is for bhaktas,
Right.
and in the end is for jnanis.
I'm just reflecting that over the years, I haven't met that many devotees that like talking about Krishna killing people. That doesn't
I was actually commenting to you today that there was a nice picture of Krishna
Oh yes,
punching
Pradyumna was
Kamsa.
appreciating watching Krishna beating the stool out of Kamsa. He was
Actually,
relishing.
the Gurukula children love all the rasa and ghastliness.
And
That's
if
their
we're
favorite.
Yeah.
I got in trouble when my coloring books and cassette tapes first came out because of the New Age movement. They said
trouble, just don't want to publish it.
they said no. I
Cover
mean,
your
with
book.
those, they would say that my books were too violent. But then I would get fan mail from different children. And one, I remember his name was Damodar. And since he was 3 years old, his mother had to write the letter for him.
Yeah.
He said, I love your song, Davida Gorilla. I wish all your songs were would be Davida Gorilla. And they love the part where Davida died vomiting blood.
Wow. I always remember this nice devotee who shared with us that his favorite Krishna Leela was actually Govardhan Leela because all the inhabitants of Vraj were present there.
Nice.
And I think they were all present. So there was no favorites, there was no secret clique, or there was no secret meeting in the forests or boys club only. Every resident of Raj was actually part of that Leela and seeing Krishna. So that was nice.
Yeah.
Oh, the Gopi Bhava Club that Prabhupada destroyed was when devotees thought this is when the devotees heard how the rasa dance is the highest and the gopis love is the highest, and you can, if you might not be qualified to hear and read the pastimes of the rasa dance, but if you hear it from the pure devotee, then you will become free from lust. So they formed the Gopi Bhava Club, and they only wanted to discuss the pastimes of Krishna and the gopis. And Srila Prabhupada put a stop to that really fast. He said that was Prakriti Sahaja.
They were missing the pure devotee.
Yeah. Were you there at the time?
It was in Los Angeles, and I don't think I
Yeah,
was
I think it was
there.
around 74 or so.
I don't think I was there,
I
but
was there.
Jadharani
You're
was
there.
there, and Jai Sachinandana, they were part of the club.
Were you part of the club, Nrihari Prabhu?
No.
Exclusive club.
Any other thoughts on this pastime here? I found it interesting that Lakshmi, Rukmini was thinking that she would have to really qualify herself, that Lord Shiva, he had to fast to have the favor of Krishna, and Rukmini was thinking she would have to go through, I mean, how did it describe it? That Rukmini felt she needed to qualify herself, right? To have
How can
Krishna.
one qualify themselves for Krishna's
No,
mercy?
my question is more like, well, she's the goddess, she's Mahalakshmi. Why does she need to qualify herself?
And I also had another question which can
Yes,
be
very
like combined and answered.
Yes.
Is like I always used to wonder, like, so people always try to show these different forms of Shakti as different women, and especially in India, I have been seeing, like, especially the communist community and other pseudo liberals, they try to target Krishna, saying that he had so many wives and so many girlfriends, and like trying to ridicule God. So I was also thinking on these lines, like, so basically, if Rukmini is also Shakti Tattva, and so Radharani is also Shakti Tattva. So basically, how they both can exist at the same time. If we see, like, in spiritual world, anything can happen, because, and as we were talking in the beginning, like, everything is kind of inconceivable. But like, just trying to understand, is it possible that two Shakti Tattvas can exist at the same time? Because
Yes.
usually Krishna only exists in one forms at one time, right?
No.
Who said that?
Krishna is like saying, here comes the king. The king
But
doesn't travel by
all the
himself.
leelas of Krishna have been in different time frame. That's what
No.
I have been
It's your
thinking.
Leela, you're
If
going
you-
already.
Yeah.
You're going.
Krishna would appear simultaneously to each one of his wives, and they think he was alone with all of them, all 10,000 of them. So
And
this is also described.
16,108.
if you
There you go.
if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Rupa Goswami is writing the play Vidagdhamada Lalita Madhava, and he had it all in one play. He had the pastimes of Dwarka and the pastimes of Vrindavan put together.
In the same book, in the same play.
And so when he's traveling to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he stops at Satyabhampur in the border of Orissa. And in this town, he has a dream, actually. Satyabhama appears to him. And he says, just write to me as separate play. I'll make yours most famous and the best of plays. And he thinks about it. When he gets to Puri, immediately Lord Chaitanya says, and don't try to take Krishna out of Vrindavan. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Yadu Kumar is an expansion of Krishna, the original. So all the fighting, Dwarka, Mathura, is all Vasudeva Krishna. Mula Sankarshan is Balaram expanding. And Radharani is actually Sarva Shakti, is the only internal energy of Krishna. She expands then into all her other Shaktis, Lila Shakti and like that. And in the case of the gopis, there are her vyuhas. The 8 principal gopis are her vyuhas. So ultimately, God is loving himself. There's like, they're one, but now they decided to separate in two in order to play rasa, mellows, an exchange of mellows between, but it's always God loving himself. It's like a child playing with his own reflection.
But
So
there has
Radharani never leaves Vrindavan too?
No, that's
no,
right.
Radharani
You're
never
right.
leaves Vrindavan also.
It's Vijogini, Samyogini, and like that. And it's explained that when Krishna goes to Kurukshetra, that's the Dwarkadish Krishna. And Radharani comes there too, but it's an expansion of hers.
So is there any incidents of like, so I'm just trying to understand, like, for example, when Krishna is doing the Leela, which is the Ram avatar, is he at the same time doing some other Leela too in some other avatar?
Those are the
Yes.
Dash avatars, and they're Nitya, so they're eternally. It's like a transcendental roadshow, if you want to say, put it that way. In every Brahmanda, in every universe, the 10 Dash avatars, the 10 avatars appear in a sequence, and they all have certain qualities and specialities, you could say, that they display. So Maryada, meaning all the rules and moral etiquette, are very strictly followed by Lord Ram.
Yeah.
But
So-
all the full qualities of the original Supreme Lord are in Krishna, and so
Yeah.
there are another 4 out of the 60. There's other 4 more. Narayan has up to 60, and demigods have up to a certain amount of qualities like that. And nobody has the Nam Rup, the name, the form, the qualities, and the guna.
Another response. Sorry.
So in different Brahmans, it's happening simultaneously, but if we are just seeing one particular Brahman, it's happening successively, right?
Yes.
Yes. It's like it happened here, and we have a timeline here, so we already passed. Lord Chaitanya, we just passed Lord Chaitanya, and Sam, like Narayan Maharaj said one time, turned to me, said, many acharyas, he said, where it begins. Did it begin where Lord Chaitanya, when they're one as Gauranga? Gauranga is Radha Krishna. There's no difference. They're together, Radha Krishna together, and then they separate to play Radha Krishna. And so some acharyas says, well, what came first? But if we want to do it for our comprehension, and like that, Krishna also places that in so-called sequence. But it all, I mean, it's like the pastimes in Goloka. Everything, time is all in the present. So as
There's no
Nrsinga was
past,
saying,
no future.
the way to kind of grasp is that is simultaneously is inconceivably one and different.
And one more thing.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I've heard that also when a jiva goes back to the spiritual world, there is a possibility that that specific jiva can simultaneously be in the Vrindavan Lila as well as with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Gaur.
Correct.
Yes, that's correct.
So
That's
that's the jiva can have double, simultaneous double. Then of course Krishna, and also they wanted to say, I think when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was here, during Rath Yatra, I think he expanded into 3, I believe, with like.
And there were 7 groups. There were 7 groups.
Oh, 7 groups. 7 groups. 7. Yes, 7. Correct,
to
correct.
each one, they all. Oh, we got Chaitanya with us. He's with us. Each one was thinking that way. He's looking and dancing.
The first I heard of Krishna being with each person individually, simultaneously, was the cowherd boys having lunch. So they're all having lunch, and each cowherd boy thinks that he's face to face alone. He and Krishna are having lunch together. Not that the other people aren't there. And I experienced with Srila Prabhupada when he would come that he was talking directly to me, but everyone else was experiencing
The same.
the same. And
And
he really did know what was on your mind, and he really did communicate with you. I have one godbrother who was thinking of committing suicide, and he's sitting in the class, and Srila Prabhupada stopped speaking on the topic and said, looked straight at him and said, and this suicide is not Krishna conscious. And then he went back to speaking on the class.
I'd like to address Sikarani's question, if I may. Another answer that Prabhupada would give regarding, Krishna, he's got so many girlfriends. Actually, every woman is Krishna's consort Every woman belongs to Krishna.
In
It's the
fact,
men, it's the men who want to have their own girlfriend or own wife.
Yeah.
We're the criminals.
but
And the
yeah,
analogy that Prabhupada gave is that of the diamond thief and the cucumber thief. He said the cucumber thief is the man who wants to have his own wife, to have this woman, oh, she's mine, she belongs to me. But he said the diamond thief is one who wants to have many women. So he said, of the two, the diamond thief, he's more punishable. To be a cucumber thief, not so serious. You're allowed to have one wife and, have a relationship in Krishna consciousness with. But if you want to have all these women, then, and Prabhupada said that's an inclination of men, is they're inclined to have several women. But that's like being a diamond thief. So actually, those who are thinking, oh, who's this Krishna that have so many girlfriends? Krishna's got millions and billions and quadrillions of girlfriends. He's the
You have
Supreme
all of them.
Lord. We're the criminals. We're the thieves, thinking that we can have even one of Krishna's wives or girlfriends. They all
I
belong to him.
yeah. I also saw one Vaishnava replying to it that Krishna is the only man, and even
Yeah.
all the women and men, all are girlfriends of Krishna. Krishna
Yes.
is the only supreme enjoyer.
It's
So
not that
there's
he's
no
a man, but
difference.
he's a person, the only male.
He's
Yeah.
the only
He's
Purusha.
the enjoyer. He's the only
We
enjoyer.
are
And
all Prakriti.
that
We
was
are
a man, Vaishnava, who was replying to this, that even I am the girlfriend of Krishna. Like he was basically telling like
Well,
he's the only man.
Yes.
there are other relationships in Braj too. There are males. I mean, there are male companions of Krishna. But in that line, because we're coming from Lord Chaitanya and Rupa Goswami, who's Rupa Manjari, that's what Lord Chaitanya came to give. That's what he says, through you, I'll give all the most, my inner heart's desire is manifested through Rupa Goswami in his writing. So that he's called Rasa Acharya. And we should try to follow in the footsteps of him, that to hear, to read what he has to say, because they're there. They're all these are expansions of Krishna that came with Krishna, came with Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya being Krishna, all the other expansions of Godhead are with him. But all the other ones are not as complete. They're not as attractive. Krishna, the meaning of Krishna means all attractive, isn't it? So not everybody's attracted to Lord Nrsingadev, roaring, and they want to embrace him. Most of them just wanted to run away. Even Lakshmi Devi was scared.
She'd never seen him before.
Yeah.
And it's
And I
not
wanted,
go ahead.
sorry. I just wanted to add, there's that pastime of Krishna coming as in form of Mohini, and then pastime with Lord Shiva. But I just wanted to add that. Sorry. I just also.
May I add something?
Yes.
I think the story of this Shri Rukmani ji praying Lord Krishna and desiring Sri Krishna association, it has begun the new era, because in our Hindu Vedic culture, there is no such thing that women can desire and can opt by own. But I see in historical review that Rukmani was one who heard from Narada Muni about the qualities of Sri Krishna, and she became fall into love, and then she desired, and then she was prone to go with Sri Krishna. So that was something never happened in history.
That is true, because even I can say, even in the present modern perspective, like in India, if a girl, even if she is choosing a Vaishnava or a Brahmana, the mere fact that how can she choose for herself, the parents would be like, no, we will choose for you. We will decide whom you are going to marry. Even if that person is perfect and he is having all the qualities which the parents want to see in their daughter's husband, they would feel that kind of ego, that how can she select her
Yes,
partner.
but
But now
Kshatriyas,
I was going to say that in the Varnashram system, Kshatriyas,
they're
the
allowed to
ladies are
choose.
allowed. That's a prerogative of the father will put all the, not impediments, but he will put all the,
Perspective.
will test to see if that person is qualified as a Kshatriya. And then there was always, Prabhupada said, Kshatriya weddings, they always have fighting. And that red dot and then the mark of the
That's
red,
the
actually,
blood.
that's the blood of the enemies.
So the Kshatriyas, the women could choose, but they had to, there would be a test. So
The fire.
Swayambara.
Yeah,
Swayambara,
like
but
that.
also they could choose. That was there. And
That was a Rukmini's-
Subhadra, when she wanted to marry Arjuna, they say, well, he kidnapped her, but actually she drove the chariot.
and he did the fighting.
So,
That's nice.
It was a car racer.
yeah, she drove the
She
chariot.
drove the chariot.
So she wanted to go with him. So.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask one question is because the question was raised, why did Krishna not fight for physically fight Rukmini's family or the other people or kill them or so I guess my question is it because it was the Rakshasa mood in terms of how he stole Rukmini? Does that have anything to do with it?
No, Prabhupada explains this because someone we read is, and it's Balaram that kills her brother. He said, imagine marrying your wife and you kill her brother.
Mm.
That would
And
be
in the Kshatriya weddings where there was a battle, the relatives of the bride were not included in that fight. It was just the other suitor.
other Kshatriya challenges, the kings. And
Yes.
But in the story in Krishna book of Samba's wedding, he was, I think he married Duryodhana's daughter or something. Anyway, there was a big fight and so many people were killed. And Prabhupada goes, and that is the way of Kshatriya weddings. There's always violence.
Yeah, I think we read that tonight actually, where Rukmini requests that. She says, I can find a way where he'll take me, but he won't fight inside the palace, so no one will get harmed. And I was thinking, well, that's a big ask,
There is another Acharya actually comments, Narayan Maharaj comments that in this story, we see the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so he's not afraid of Jarasandha, but he's always drawing their troops and all that away from Raja, away from his devotees. Right. It says, but he experiences fear only when Mother Jashoda is with a stick chasing him. So he likes the human light pastimes, but they're only displayed in Raj. That's why Lord Chaitanya warned Rupa Goswami, don't take Krishna out of Vrindavan.
Where are you, Laura? Where are you? What's behind you? Where are you today?
Oh, that is the Ganda Madana mountain that King Muchukunda went to and to meditate in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's a river. You can see a river there.
I want to go to India now.
All of us.
Me too.
All of us would like to go.
Maybe we all should plan together.
Yeah.
That'd be so nice. Yeah.
That's a great idea. Just going back to the map here, let's see. Yeah, if you look at this map here, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see this map?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can see the map, yes.
So there on the right-hand side is the Ganda Madana mountain range. Do you see it on the right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Is it in China now?
No. Oh, look at that. Yeah, man, I wonder.
Let's
in
ask
China.
Nitya Leela will know better. She may have a better.
So Nitya Leela is on Malayavat side. Gandhamadana
Right.
is China.
Yeah, that's right. Neela,
Yeah.
that Neela looks like totally in China,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Neela is the Neela river, the river Nile. Is
Oh, wow.
Nile.
Really?
Yeah, everything is connected.
This is such
Vrindavan,
an old map.
it's an old map. Yeah,
Yeah, that's why it's called Jambu Dweep. Oh my God, Jambu Dweep is so
Yes.
old, very old.
Yes.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
says Malyavan is varying.
Turkestan is Turkestan now. Ketumala. Oh my
Uh-huh.
God.
Yeah, yes, it's all up north there. We had devotees, born there. Bharadraj is from, the family is from there, Ketumal.
And
Bharadraj,
Malyawat is Malaysia, but then even on Pakistan side, it is showing Malyawat. Maybe that whole reason was Malyawat earlier.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It says Malyavan is identified with the Sulaiman Range in West
West
Pakistan.
Pakistan, Sulaiman. Do you know
And
Nitya Leela, Sulaiman region?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. It
Mm.
was conquered by Suleiman.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, very good. I am now fascinated to go and see the old maps because
Mhm.
I was able to find one map which actually showed the Kandahar region, which is in Afghanistan. In one of the games, actually, it was a game of old kings and fighting and something, and the map was like very old.
yeah, Gandhar, and now,
Yes.
Kandahar now.
yeah.
And I think the forest of the Daibasharanya is in Bihar, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, nice.
Yeah, very nice.
So we'll
Chikarani,
And
continue.
then
you're
when the
from Bihar?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm from here.
Yes.
Yeah.
my family originally was from Bihar. 500 years ago, I moved to Maharashtra after a king gave us a land for farming.
Oh,
That's my family history.
wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
My family's history only goes back 5 generations.
Wow, yeah.
Oh,
Pradyumna had a question from earlier asking what tirthas are near Pune. I don't know.
I
And
know
who
a
knows?
few, but then I'm not sure if that's related to Krishna. I know mostly because my mom worships Lord Shiva a lot. So we went to Triambakeshwar Nath, and then we went to Panchwati, which is another Leela related to Lord Hanuman. And then there is the big Sai Baba temple. So those are the things which in my childhood I went because they were very famous. And also there's a big Lord Shani temple also, which is Shani
Oh,
Shingnapur.
yes. Saturn. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
There's
and
one.
Narmada River, devotees circling around Bamblade, Narmada River too. It's north of
Oh,
Maharashtra.
Yes.
well, very principled. If you're a Pujari, you will be familiar with all the names of the rivers, because to fill the Achaman cup with water, then you put your Brahmin thread and you chant the names of all the principal
What
rivers.
are
So
the
Narmada,
the,
Sindhu, Kaveri, Godavari, Saraswati.
Yeah.
Gora, you remember a little bit?
the names?
And the mantra? You were Pujari.
Ganjisha Jamuna Chaiva Godaveri Saraswatam Naramodi Sindhu Kaveri Galismin. What is it? Galismin Kuru.
Kaveri.
Ganges Cha Jamuna Chaiva Godaveri Saraswatam Naramodi Sindhu Kaveri Galismin Sinidim Kuru.
Yes, Sinidim Kuru.
Did they say
Sinidim
so?
Kuru.
Saraswati is included in that too. There should be
It's been
Saraswati.
a while since I chanted that mantra.
Saraswati, I guess now it's almost extinct, as they say.
The
They said the
Saraswati.
Saraswati,
Yeah.
yes.
It's under.
And others I heard that on satellite photography, you can see the bed of the river.
Mhm.
And
But
yeah.
in no water.
Yeah.
So next Monday we'll read about Krishna kidnapping Princess Rukmini. And I found it interesting because I found at least 20 paintings of Krishna kidnapping Rukmini. So I'm thinking this is like the original romantic story, like all those
Maybe
Harlequin
let's
romance
just put them
covers,
in a video.
What?
Put it in a video, slideshow video, and
oh yes,
some
that's
background.
great.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I have a lot of slides of Krishna kidnapping Rukmini. Very interesting. So this Friday will be Nectar of Instruction. We're going back to, I think we finished verse 1 last time, right?
Yeah.
So now verse 2 we've not read. Srila Radharaman Goswami and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's Anuvriti commentary as we do our in-depth study.
Yes.
Last night we were listening to
Radha.
Indradumna
Oh, Indradumna.
Swami Maharaj, and he has 4 episodes of Rasa Dance with all the commentators, some of the commentators, and one of them is Harisuri, the poet, and he's one of the commentators of Srimad Bhagavatam. We have given a list of 30.
I think it's 33. We have
33.
to rewrite it.
There are known that you can get the books still, but they're in Sanskrit. And then there's others that the books are no longer available.
Thanks, Srila Prabhupada, for synthesizing it all for us.
Yeah, he did 6 commentators. Is that what you said, Prabhupada?
I don't know if it was only 6.
Well, he has Sridhar, of course,
His
and then he
main
did Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
commentary was Sridhar.
Yeah, that was his main thing.
But
by the way, I have Sarartha Darshini at hand. I mean, if you want to read Ranchor or Krishna according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, we can always do that next session. I don't know. I don't know what is everyone's.
You're the MC. So
but you're the maestro.
the maestro.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, we can consider.
Okay.
That's what Mahabudhi is doing. He's actually doing Sarartha Darshini right now. But I thought it'd be very nice because I noticed when I attended the Bhakti Festival in 2007 or 8 in Badger, and Srila Narayan Raj would call each of our godbrothers that he had given sannyas to go up to the mic, and he would just I don't even think they knew what they were supposed to talk on. Okay, the Tridandi Maharaj speak on Putana, Padmanabh Maharaj speak on Trinavarta, and and they were asking me to come and sit up front in the closed circle of the Swamis, and I was like, I don't know Krishna book that well, but what I noticed that Srila Narayan Maharaj was doing is he was embellishing as they were speaking. He was pulling out little things from Sarartha Darshini, Nanda Vrindavan Champu, Harivangsha, and he was adding to and it was like he was expanding on the Krishna. I thought that was so cool. I'd never seen anybody do that before.
Oh yeah. Well, many times in the morning walks, when we went with him, he would. Oh yeah. Well, the ladies will wait, and then he will come back and tell them, what was talked about. It was like, it was just for the ladies when they came back. I mean, all the men were there, but they had gone in the morning. Anyhow, what I want to say was that he would sometimes tell them, well, today I'll speak about this, and so he gave me a little time to prepare.
And he'd tell us in the morning what he wanted us to sing about a lot of times.
Oh,
before the afternoon class.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the principal. The class was at 5 p.m., whatever he was.
So he would say what the topic was so that we could have a song to go with the
to
topic.
get in the groove.
And so I think he actually told them in advance.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was there when they did.
Yeah, in reason.
And of course, there are other kirtaniyas, fantastic kirtaniyas, and most of them were all ladies, young girls.
Yeah.
The second generation devotees.
Third too.
And third, that they knew all this.
Sons and daughters of our godbrothers and godsisters.
Yes.
And granddaughters.
I'm thinking, how's the GBC gonna what? Your father is a Prabhupada disciple, but you married someone who went to Narayan Maharaj. You can't forget. I thought there's no way the GBC is going to be able to control people's marriages. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Well, not if it's like Rukmini and she sends a letter to Krishna.
Yeah. So Mukunda, I don't know if you hear about
Not
this.
even the GBC can stop that.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that Jiva Goswami says, that there is no ecclesiastical reasons, meaning a group of Brahmins or a group of priests that could select or vote in a relationship of guru disciple, Shisha. Yeah.
Well, right now the ICC, what is that? The India
central committee
Oh,
or something.
those letters
Yeah.
confuse me so much.
Dave, they're voting for a moratorium on all initiations to stop. No more.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's too much confusion. Because I mean, I was thinking when right here in Toronto, an hour and a half from where I live, Professor Joseph O'Connell, specialist in Chaitanya theology, he even invited me to speak in one of his classes one time on Lord Chaitanya. I did a slideshow on Lord Chaitanya for his students at
Oh,
St.
fun.
Michael's College. And so he said to Prabhupada, so women, women can also be spiritual masters? And Prabhupada said, yes, but not so many. And then he gave the example, Janava Mata. And I thought, well, wait a minute. If for women, the level of being an initiator is Janava Mata, then that should mean that the men should be on the level of Lord Nityananda.
Hello. Hello.
Right?
Yeah. And the book that we're reading, Nectar of Instruction, tells us,
So who's up to that level?
Yeah. Right. So, was there any readings that you can see that Rupa Goswami is in anxiety because the Sampradaya is going to end? He only had one disciple.
Rupa Goswami.
Yeah? But to this day, who's the most famous Goswami? Or the most famous disciple of the most known disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He wasn't even giving the formal initiation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had only one formal initiate, was Lokanath. When Lokanath was young, they were schoolmates. And it took Nimai took him to go around and defeat all these Mayavads, all the other, conclusions and like that. They did that for a while. And at one time he gave Lokanath initiation.
Diksha. But
Formal.
that's his only formal disciple, is Lokanath.
Some points that Lakshminath, our godbrother, made to me in a conversation I had with him the other day is that there's no Diksha initiation existing between Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Jagannath Das Babaji.
Right.
And that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur even rejected Bipin Bihari. And then he also said that Gorkishore never took Diksha from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur approached Srila Gorkishore Das Babaji for initiation, but what kind of initiation was that? Was there a yagya? Then he said Lalita Prasad's argument was that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was bogus because there was no Diksha lineage. So then he said it seems that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur emphasized that Shiksha was more important. Srila Prabhupada gave us Diksha and also Shiksha, personally.
Bhagavat to Bhagavat.
Yes.
Bhagavat. We're a Shiksha line. Even when we say our parampara, the names, many of them are Shiksha in relationships.
And in Sri Guru and His Grace, that's one of the questions our God brothers, Prabhupada's disciples asked from Sridhara Maharaj. There seem to be gaps of time, if you just say by Diksha line, there should be a lot more teachers, more gurus. But we have Lord Chaitanya's number 22.
Prabhupada's 32.
From Lord Brahma.
Srila Prabhupada's 32 from Lord Brahma. But
Lord
actually,
Chaitanya.
Madhava Madhvacharya. He actually met Vedavyasa Dev.
Right.
So it was 5,000 years apart. So.
And
you're agreeing that we're a Shiksha line, but let me just finish Lakshminath's points, okay?
Okay.
There's not many. There's just a few.
Oh, good. Sure.
Okay. So he was saying the Diksha Guru is often not the local devotee, and it is the Shikshas that do all the training, but don't exist as soon as they get initiated from the Diksha Guru by phone now, thousands of miles away. In other words, it's the local Shikshas that are training, caring for that devotee. But as soon as the Diksha Guru has his mark, so to speak, on them, then the shiksha is kind of like, they're no longer considered important by either the Diksha disciple or even by the Diksha guru. He was saying now whatever the shiksha says, like if Lakshanath is trying to like say instruct a local devotee that he trained and cared for, then that shiksha, that disciple will say, "Oh well, let me check with my Diksha guru about what you told me." And he's
I
saying,
disagree with that. I think that that's true for very neophyte devotees only,
and
personally.
he was saying that not all the money must go to the Diksha. He's saying now all the money must go to the Diksha guru thousands of miles away. He said it doesn't seem to make any sense. Like in other words, there's the local temple, they need help, and they're training local people. But someone thousands of miles away becomes the guru of that local devotee, and he or she may send their donations far away, but not necessarily supporting the local temple.
So that began with when the zones Prabhupada disliked so much. And I told you about our meetings in Mexico City with Hanuman, Hridayananda Maharaj was there. Prabhupada really put down the thing about zonal, but it continued on in spite of Prabhupada's wishes to be contrary. And so their system was to come to the city that their GBCs from far away, let's say, they would go to Buenos Aires and suck up all the cash they had. Devotees had nothing to eat. They had to do laundry by hand. In winter, it's very cold there. All kinds of things like that. There were abuses done by this system where the zonal then became the zonal acharya and guru or diksha, whatever, will come and or send an emissary to take all the money to go to their whatever.
I'm just raising these points because Bhavatrini has rightfully said, we are a shiksha, that's where our emphasis, we're a shiksha lineage. But if you actually look in ISKCON, what's really important, it's the Diksha Guru. The Diksha Guru is everything.
Yes, but
Prabhupada gives us in
this is just modern times. This is just when Srila Prabhupada entered his Apricot Leela, at first we all realized that before that we just loved Srila Prabhupada. We didn't care really about Krishna and the philosophy.
Right.
We loved Srila Prabhupada and we wanted to be with him and serve him. And he was guiding us where our love should go. So he was the manifest representation of Super Soul. And now he was unavailable for us. We couldn't take a plane or a train or walk or a car, right, or call him on the phone, Yeah. But if we developed pure love of Krishna without any hesitation and just surrendered, then we could be with him. And so we just loved everybody. This was in Vrindavan. For about 2 weeks, everyone loved each other, and we just all wanted to reunite with Srila Prabhupada and help each other. It was just very high realization. And then there was a big meeting, and they came out, and there was a lot of fear. And they said that we have to do this, set up all these gurus. There are 11 gurus, and if we don't do this, then everyone's gonna leave. And
they did.
Because the other way around. If you do this, then everyone will leave.
Right.
But it's like despite their misgivings and their fear, Srila Prabhupada's teachings and love and presence is just expanding everywhere. And the demons are the Maya is really working hard to keep us from actually hooking up with, yeah. And but Krishna is always victorious. So
And-
it,
You know,
and what
and
we know that I was just thinking, reflecting on this, that we know, the Guru, Ekanda Guru Tattva. Ekanda meaning there is only one Guru, and that's Krishna. That's God. Is it? Now, to approach Krishna is directly, it's very, very difficult. It can be done, but it's very, very difficult. So we need the support of our shikshas.
Yeah.
Who's the topmost shiksha Guru Dev is Radharani and the gopis, is it? And if we transport now, those same characters showed up 500 years ago. Krishna himself was here 500 years ago, and all his manjaris, all the Radharani, and all, Krishna comes together. Radharani and Krishna appear together, and then you have all the sannyasis, very intimate associates. There are gopis, Saruta Mudar, Roy Ramananda, and then you have the manjaris, which is Rupa Goswami, headed, and Sanatana Goswami, and that. And it's through them that we can really understand and approach Krishna.
Before we can approach them, we have to approach the 6 Goswamis. That's
First
what
is the spiritual
Yes,
master.
yes.
First is Prabhupada explained it so clearly in the purport of that's the song Gauranga Bolite Habe.
Yeah.
Please look it up. It's in YouTube, and he gives the purport of that song. So it begins with Guru there, and then Nityananda, Chaitanya, through the 6 Goswamis, of course. It has to be
Rupa
like-
Raghunatha.
Sorry.
It's
go ahead.
late.
Yeah, Rupa Raghunatha Pade means the 6 Goswamis.
Ah,
Yeah, from Rupa to
Yeah.
Raghunath.
Right. So that's how
That's how he
that's
explains.
actually how the song ends. That through the
And-
6 Goswamis.
In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kaviraj Goswami, he explains that it's offensive to think that Shiksha, there's a difference between Shiksha and Diksha Gurudev.
yeah. Well, no, that's quite common in ISKCON, though.
Yeah. Well, it's like there's it's not the same thing, but there's the fake Sita and the real Sita.
Right.
So in the material world, something can look like, or like in the desert, you see what a
Mirage.
mirage. So, there can be mirages here, but it doesn't mean that the real thing isn't there.
If I don't stop looking at the screen, I won't go to sleep because my melatonin.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Blue lights.
Okay.
Lights.
All right.
Thanks,
Right.
Pradyumna, thanks a lot for coming, Pradyumna Prabhu.
Yeah, I just wanted to say
Yeah.
on this.
Pradyumna had a point to share.
On
Go
this
ahead.
last point that you're saying, because you're saying it's very common in ISKCON. It's not just common in ISKCON.
It's common everywhere.
I know devotees in Gaudiya Math. I know Narayan Maharaj devotees. I know
Yeah.
devotees of Atul Ananda Maharaj, all these guys, and they're all Gurudev is the Gurudev. And yes, I agree that we should take shiksha from everybody. I take shiksha from my friends who come on Harinam with me. The Guru is many, but I think this attitude is just neophytes, to be honest. It doesn't have to do with ISKCON or this association.
Right,
or
yeah.
Absolutely
It
right.
is just a neophyte attitude.
I agree.
Right.
I agree.
That's
I agree.
true.
It's just I
And,
spent all my life in ISKCON. I don't know.
To be
all the-
honest, like most of the devotees I've relished the association are in ISKCON, the greater ISKCON, the institution ISKCON, whatever. And I don't see that at all, actually. I mean, I only see it in neophyte devotees, personally. I'm a neophyte, but I recognize that this, from what I've seen and from what I've experienced, like you can talk to all the devotees and get wisdom from all the devotees, not just initiating spiritual master. So that's my 2 cents on that.
I agree with you.
Anyway, I will
Thank
let you go to sleep, Cora. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Shalila. See you
Thank you,
Friday. for
Kalina, Vasangi, Didi,
Thank you,
Hare
everyone.
Krishna. Thank you,
Good night.
Prabhu.
Panchikopa Dhruviyascha Kritischa Patitirang
Devya, Vaishnavya, Namo Namaha.
Prabhupada ki
Hari
jai.
Bol.
Jai Bol Premanandi.
Hari
Haribol.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nitya.
Everyone
Hare
too.
Krishna.
Shalila. Thank you. for serving Srila Prabhupada in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Jai.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Akshatya
Hare
devotee.
Krishna.